Hi everyone, and welcome to my Pecha Kucha assignment for our final week in Learning Design Studio. I can't say that I've ever done an assignment quite like this before, and I've definitely never heard of the term Pecha Kucha. However, I'm going to give it my best shot, and I've decided to attack it with an entire overview of my work in this course. Let's get started. This course was set up differently than my online courses thus far. At first it was hard to keep up, but the layout of the course and the various assignments came together in the end to create an enriched learning experience. I'm going to break down and overview each part of our course this summer, as well as the assignments and projects that I completed along the way. We'll start with the readings, talk about what I posted for What's Hot, provide an overview of my design studio experiences, and take a look at the projects I created via the technology modules. In one aspect of our coursework, every other week we read an article in which we posted and discussed questions about in an application called Yammer. Our first reading and discussion was about the levels of teaching, in which our conversation revolved around the teaching continuum and the ideal teaching and learning environment. In week 4, we read about role-based design and talked about what qualities a good designer has and where we might fit in. In week 6, we went into the wild and discussed design and action-based research, as well as characteristics we think we exemplify in our designs. Reading for week 8 was about design thinking, and our last reading and discussion revolved around redesigning and education in an app-based world. It was always interesting to read and discuss other people's experiences and ideas that were derived from the text that week, and the discussion itself helped me to deepen my understanding of the design process and other ideas throughout the course. What's Hot was a fun and resourceful post every other week, along with the readings that we completed during the past 13 weeks. Each week we highlighted an application or cited an article that we thought might be the next hot thing in technology, learning, design, or education. In week 2, I posted about an online classroom portal called Start.me, in week 4, Code.org, and in week 6, an app called Quizzes. During week 8, I posted about the learning management system I use in my classroom called EDU. In week 10, an article about using Twitter in the classroom, and lastly in week 12, an application called Poplet, where students can organize and plan out ideas with a visual online interface. I saved a lot of resources and ideas that my classmates posted as well. Overall, I really liked this portion of our classwork. The design activities were yet another part of our learning process in Design Studio that we completed every other week, opposite of the readings. In our first design activity project, we worked with a partner, and our objective was to go through the design process to create a gift for them. I worked with Heidi and used Zoom for the first time. We were both successful in completing the design process for this assignment, and in the end, we both were able to design a gift that the other person liked. In Design Activity 2, we worked in slightly larger groups and discussed designing apps for education. Our group specifically discussed closing opportunity and achievement gaps as described in the EdTech Developer's Guide. In lieu of our assigned opportunities, we created an app that would connect and match school districts and communities with grant opportunities, as funding is often a problem when it comes to implementing initiatives to help close those gaps. In week 7, we worked in groups for our Design Activity 3, which involved creating an app interface that would ease the process of grading student work on an app called KidSpeak. My group created a grading interface that would allow the teacher to monitor student reading and make comments in real time using colored shape icons to make marks as the student read. The interface also included a screen where the teacher, parent, and student alike could view a summary report and monitor results over time. For Design Activity 4, I worked individually on a 5-minute video for a crit session that was shared on the Discuss forum in the design activity. I chose to highlight my HTML, CSS, and jQuery module for the project crit session. I was happy to view my classmates' videos as well, and I welcomed the constructive comments that I received. In week 11, we worked in groups again to discuss and highlight current trends in learning design as described in the Horizon report. My group reviewed and discussed medium 3 to 5 year trends, difficult elusive challenges, and 2 to 3 year developments, which included augmented and virtual reality and makerspaces. And last but not least, in our final week, we were asked to work individually on Design Activity 6, which you are currently watching my Pecha Kucha video. I was questioning why this was a part of our final design activity, but it has been a good experience to look back and see how much I've accomplished over these past few months. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the learning pathway I selected and the projects I completed during each technology module. I love that this part of the course was customizable, and I liked the experience of learning about new concepts, tools, and resources, as well as improving upon skills that I already had. I chose HTML, CSS, and jQuery as my first technology module. I did have experience using HTML and CSS before, But jQuery was another story. I watched the Lynda training videos and completed the module on Codecademy, but I struggled with these concepts in my website, and it took me more than a few tries to get my elements to work correctly. But I finally did, and I'm proud of the end result. Here are a few screenshots from the website page I created. I chose a simple layout and dedicated it to my favorite hockey team, who just so happened to be the 2016 Stanley Cup champions, the Pittsburgh Penguins. The jQuery elements were the movable photograph and the accordion menu for their past wins. My second technology module content was about flipped classrooms, and I was able to learn and use new resources like EDU Creation and a screen capture application called Snagit. I've had experience using screen capture applications before, but these tools gave me the opportunity to practice recording and editing screen capture flipped classroom type lessons. Here you can see a screenshot of the EDU Creation video I created at the top, as well as the Snagit sample lesson I prepared as part of the requirement for this module. EDU Creations wasn't my favorite application, but I'm always up for trying something fun and new. However, I really liked Snagit. In the past, I've used Screencast-O-Matic. In fact, I'm using it now, but I would consider using Snagit in the future to create flipped lessons. In my third technology module, I looked at video editing, worked with a green screen, and due to the lack of proper equipment, used the video clips provided to us in the assignment to create and edit a video in Windows Movie Maker. I really liked using this interface, although I did run into some interesting trouble with my green screen recording. However, I think the video turned out pretty well. Last but not least, I worked with Photoshop for my last technology module. I've always wanted to learn how to use Photoshop, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to start in this course. I found the interface kind of difficult, but I do find that I'm becoming more comfortable with it the more I use it, and the Lynda videos were extremely helpful. These are the projects I created as a result of completing the module. The first was the boss exercise, which I completed and hopefully pronounced that correctly. My photo collage depicts my passion and interest in dance, and I also created a logo for my dad's real estate business. Overall, it was a busy but insightful semester. Thanks for watching.